All right, welcome. Today, we're digging into a question that, let's be honest, we all struggle with. How do you really trust an expert? Especially when the very things we're taught to look for, like a big, shiny brand name or years of experience, might actually be leading us completely astray. I mean, seriously, think about it. You call a mechanic, you talk to a financial advisor, you see a doctor. You need their expertise, but you are completely in their hands. You have to trust their diagnosis, their solution, but you have no real way of knowing if it's what you actually need. And that power imbalance, that's really at the heart of our story today. So this brings us to a specific type of service where this problem gets really, really intense. It's a world where judging the quality of what you just bought is incredibly difficult, and sometimes it's flat out impossible. Yeah, economists actually have a name for this. They call them credence goods. See, unlike a cup of coffee where you know immediately if it's good, the value of a credence good is based entirely on your belief in the expert. Was that $1,000 car repair really necessary? Is this the absolute best insurance policy for me? You might never, ever truly know. And this slide just lays out the problem so clearly. The expert diagnoses the issue, suggests the fix, and gets paid long before you, the customer, have any idea what the real outcome is. The expert holds all the cards. And that massive information gap, that is exactly where the potential for misconduct lives. Okay, so how do we protect ourselves? I mean, common sense, or gut instinct, tells us to go with a big, reputable company. You know, they've got oversight, they have managers, a brand to protect. They have to be safer, right? Well, a fascinating study is about to challenge that very idea. So on one side, you have the agent from a major firm. We assume they're being monitored, kept in line by the company. And on the other side, you've got the unmonitored, independent agent, who feels like more of a gamble. Our intuition screams that the monitored agent is the safer bet. But is our intuition right? Let's just pose the question directly. Given these two choices, who is actually more likely to engage in misconduct? The answer is not what you think. Get this. The study found that monitored experts, the ones from the big branded firms, are up to 98% more likely to mislead customers than their independent counterparts. 98%. The very structure we believe is there for our protection might actually be creating the opposite effect. So what on earth is happening here? Well, in markets where prices are fixed, like insurance, agents can't compete by offering a lower price. So if they want to make more money, they have to resort to, well, misconduct. And because we feel safer with a big brand, we let our guard down. The expert exploits this false sense of security. As this graph shows, misconduct actually peaks when there's just enough monitoring to make us feel safe, but not nearly enough to actually stop the bad behavior. It's a paradox. Okay, so branding is a broken signal. What about experience? We're always told to go with the veteran, the professional who's seen it all. Surely more years in the business has to equal more integrity? Wrong again. The same research found a significant link. The more experienced the agent, the more likely they are to engage in misconduct. The thinking here is that greater skill and experience don't just make you better at your job. They also make you better at spotting opportunities to oversell or to recommend a product that benefits you more than it benefits the client. So here's the crucial point, the thing to really let sink in. The two main pillars of trust we've relied on for decades, big brands and years of experience, are not just unreliable, they might be actively pointing us in the completely wrong direction. So if the old signals are broken, where we look for new ones? This is where our whole story pivots from the problem to a really cool potential solution. And it comes from some fascinating new research on language and AI. The core idea here is simple, but it's so powerful. The words we choose, they're not random. They are a window into our thoughts, our seriousness, our intentions. So what if you could analyze that language to find a more reliable signal of trust and intent? And this is exactly where artificial intelligence, specifically these huge language models, come into play. Researchers are now using these tools to analyze the text of a customer's very first message to predict who's a serious buyer and who is just, kicking the tires. Now, this analysis is grounded in this really cool psychological principle called temporal construal theory. I know it sounds complex, but the idea is simple. Things that are far away in time, like a vacation next year, we think about abstractly. But things that are happening really soon, like a flight tomorrow at 6 a.m., we think about in very concrete, specific detail. And this slide just makes it perfectly clear. Just look at the difference. The abstract inquiry is vague. I'm thinking about a kitchen remodel sometime next year. The concrete one is packed with specifics, measurements, product models, deadlines. One signals a distant idea, the other signals a decision that is right around the corner. So here's how it works in the real world. A customer sends a message, an AI model reads it, and based on all that detail, gives it a specificity score. Then, the company can instantly see which potential customers have done their homework and are ready to act, allowing them to focus their energy where it's going to matter most. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? The world of expert advice is changing, and the tools that we use to navigate it, they need to change too. For us as consumers, the lesson is pretty clear. Don't rely on those old, broken signals. The absolute best defense against misconduct is knowledge. Become what the researchers call a connoisseur customer, someone who does their research and asks specific, detailed questions. And for businesses, the message is to embrace these new tools that can read between the lines, helping you find the customers you can serve best. And this all leaves us with one final, huge question to think about. We're entering an age where AI can decode human intent with more and more accuracy. In a world where a machine can tell a business how serious you are before you've even spoken, what is trust even going to look like? It's a profound shift, and we are only just beginning to see where it leads.